So Tony, you've had the international break. Did it come at a good time, or would you rather just kept playing, bearing in mind the momentum?
I think momentum is big in football, but we know how it's set up. We know what we have to cope with and what we don't have to cope with. And the international games are now part of the footballing calendar, and the breaks are there for everybody to see. The difficult thing is, from being in the Premiership to the Championship, is that there's another 8 games on top of what the Premier League clubs have got to deal with. When you think we have 14 weeks of 3-game weeks, which is, it's a hell of a lot of games in a lot of short period of time. And I think we've got 3 weeks now of continuous games where we're playing midweek. So you go away from having 2 weeks off, and then you're back into it, and game after game after game. But we know about it. Can't complain. We've got to get on with it.
Some of the players have talked about how tough pre-season was. For them, some of them it would have been their first pre-season with you. Do you think that's kind of really paid off now? Because Boro do look fitter, really, compared to some of the other teams.
Well, results are everything, and I think if we'd been losing games, and the lads wouldn't have been as fit as what they look, and they wouldn't have been running around as much as they look. So, winning is important for everything. It sets your mind in a positive way, and everybody looks at the positive side of it. Pre-season has been no different to when I've been at any football club. You can go right back to my Bournemouth days. I think if you speak to the people down there, they'll say exactly the same, that they really worked hard during pre-season. And it's lovely to know that there's some foreign coaches who actually work 3 times a day as well. It's lovely that they've taken that on board.
But when you look at where Boro are and just how well they've done, you did express some frustrations at the transfer window. But, obviously you're delighted, but has it taken you by surprise just how well the team have done? I'm most probably like most managers. When the window is open, you're always striving to get better in. You're always, if you're not, then I don't think you're doing your job properly. So you're always pushing and striving to get that next player in, or that player that you think will make the difference. As soon as the window closes, then that shuts off. You can't do anything more. So you concentrate on the players that you've got, and you concentrate on what you've got to work with. And so far, touch wood, they've been very, very good. But it's a long season, as we've just talked about. There's loads of games coming up, and it can swing both ways. The most important thing is that we just keep doing what we're doing, and if we have a blip, we have a blip. We bounce back up and get on with it, and that will happen during the season, whichever way you cook it. So with Norwich, we might get a chance to see Saville and Bart. How have they been kind of joining the group?
Well, they've only had a day with us. Bart has had more than a day with us. He's a good lad. He's got a great attitude, and he'll be a good member of the squad. And he's a man. He's a real man around the place, which is, you can't have too many of them. Saville, we've only had in for 1 day, and to be fair to him and Bezic, they were 2 players who played 90 minutes. They played both games, and all the time in both games. So they actually just did a warm down yesterday and watched the little bit of work that we did on the training ground. So yeah, we'll I'll pick my team and we'll get on with it. We know it'll be a tough game. Going to Carrow Road is always difficult. A fabulous stadium, fabulous crowd who they turn up every week there to watch their team, and they've got a good side. So it'll be difficult for us.
It just hasn't quite happened for Norwich, so far this season and kind of last season. Is that taking you by surprise at all?
I haven't got a clue about Norwich in respect of what they're doing, what they're not doing. I've looked at them this week, the way they've played and everything else, and they've got some good players. The manager's set them up really well. We know it's going to be a difficult game, but I'm more concerned about Boro rather than Norwich.
And just finally for me, Braithwaite obviously said that he wanted to leave, came close to going. What's the situation with you? Is he available to you?
I'm delighted that Martin's not left. I'm delighted now that he's back in the squad, and I've had a good chat with him, and he's promised to get his head down and really give her a go this year. I think all the speculation about him leaving in the last, obviously the last window, he went to Bordeaux, and then has had to come back fresh from that. All the speculation around it this time has affected him, and he was playing really, really well as well. And I mean really well. He was exceptional, and he looked in every game as though he was going to score goals for us. So we want him back in the team. He's a good player. What I want is players who want to be at this football club and understand that it's a good football club. It's a good club to come in every morning and work, and things will be done properly. And like I say, he's come in and had a good chat with me yesterday, and fingers crossed we can really, really now get him back involved in the team and get him scoring goals, because that's what we want him to do.
So just to pick up on that point slightly, you said how managers think while the transfer window's open and then when it's shut. Do you think the same kind of works for players? So is that where he is now?
Yeah, like I say, while it's open, you never know whether, you never know what's going to happen. Things can happen and happen very, very quickly. So it's a difficult time. As I've said, if it was me, I wouldn't have transfer windows. I think they've made it, a feeding time for agents and everybody else, and it's very disruptive. So I just feel as though the old system was good enough for me.
Obviously, you've made this great start. Do you think that sort of helped build up a bank of confidence for the team? I mean, unbeaten, best defensive record.
Winning breeds confidence, and can at times hide a multitude of sins. So you can cook it whichever way you want to cook it. But I would say that the lads have deserved, the games that we've played. We've deserved the points that we've got. We could even, if we'd have had one or two decisions, looking back at the Leeds game, go our way. And I mean very, very easy decisions to make. We could have won that game as well. So the lads have done well, and they've deserved the points that we've got. I think Millwall was most probably the only game for 60 minutes where we never really performed. The last half an hour we did. And from that point onwards, the team has really, really given it a go, and have been justifiably, winners in those games, or picking points up the leads.
When you arrived, you inherited in a way someone else's team. Is it feeling your team now?
I think I've had more time to put in place what I want to put in place. I think the big thing is going into a football club. I had a meeting with Steve yesterday. I'm still trying to implement things behind the scenes that will benefit the club in the future. Whether I run with it or whether I don't run with it, whether I'm here, whether I'm not. I think the thing I've always tried to do is make sure that there's a clear line of communication right through from the bottom end of the club through to the top end of the club. And we're trying to implement certain things even now that have not gone on at the football club, which I think are important. So although it's first team results that are always very, very important, I think for me, building or being at the football club is about good people, and it's about people being focused and realising and recognising what to do in respect to benefit for the club in the future.
Just final one, in terms of, you lost people over the summer that you didn't want to lose, but thinking particularly about someone like Adama, is it possible, it obviously is possible, to sometimes lose your better individuals can give you an opportunity to create a better team, if you see what I mean?
No, I loved Adama. I thought Adama was fantastic. I think every time he played, you're just waiting for him to do what he could do, and nobody else for a long time. I haven't seen nobody so quick off the mark and have the balance that Adama had. And I thought, like I said, the back end of the season or at the turn of Christmas, he was just absolutely fantastic for this football club. And he was disappointed to see him go. But once he's gone, you've got to move on. You've got to find a way. Whichever system you've got, whatever players you've got to find a way to win. I keep telling, unfortunately, young managers ring me now. I'm at that age, and I just say to them, for all people talk about philosophies, people talk about this, they talk about that. They've got a long throw coach now at Liverpool, and they've got this going on, they got that going on. It's all about winning. If you don't win games, you don't stay in this job very long.